Hey everyone, remember when Marvel thought that this was a good idea?
Look at the flick of that wrist. Look at the flick of that wrist.
Because they totally did! So because of course it is, today for Readus Reviews, I review Spider-Man Homecoming, aka one of the best decisions Sony decided to do with the property since Spider-Man 2. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain. So after his involvement in Captain America Civil War, Peter Parker is basically sponsored by Tony Stark, which I would imagine is every single YouTuber's dream in the MCU. And while under Tony's mentorship, he's constantly trying to prove to him that he's ready to join the Avengers. That's of course when the Vulture comes into the picture, and everything goes off the rails. So let's start this review off with my opinion of the story, which was surprisingly solid. Even though I'm glad there wasn't a lot of it, I definitely enjoyed the John Hughes elements that were brought into the story. In my opinion, they definitely helped this make this feel like a coming-of-age story for Peter Parker, allowing proper character development throughout. I'm also glad that this was still a Spider-Man story at heart and that he was the main focus. You know, unlike that busy-ass theatrical poster for the movie. So with that being said, let's move on to the actors and the characters that stood out to me the most, starting with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. And I will start off with saying this. I believed him. Like I stated in previous videos, I wasn't necessarily sold on Tom Holland's casting as Peter Parker when he was first announced. I thought he would have made a better Harry Osborn. But of course, seeing him in Civil War proved me wrong, and seeing him in his own standalone movie, I'm glad that he's Peter Parker. The fact that he was still an awkward Peter Parker still trying to find his persona for Spider-Man was a great creative decision for me. And I hope they keep the pacing of Homecoming in mind over the course of his development in the MCU. Then there's Jacob Batalon as Ned, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was going to have a problem with. Mostly because despite him being an original character, he was a combination of two. The name Ned from one of the many people that became the Hobgoblin in the comic books, which in his defense is kinda like the STD of supervillains. If you're not careful, you're gonna catch it. And of course, physically looking like Miles Morales' best friend Ganke Lee. Yet I will admit, despite what it took to create this character, I did find him enjoyable. He played the best friend sidekick trope to a T, and come on, it's Jacob Batalon, I was gonna like him regardless. Not gonna lie, mostly because I think he's cute, but he's also a good actor. It's fine, he turns 21 this year, so me saying that isn't creepy at all. Zendaya was awesome. Yup. And then of course we have Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. Oh, you thought I was gonna make a MILF joke, like everyone else on the internet. That's cute, you're cute. I'm honestly glad they decided to go the cool aunt vibe like they did in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon on Disney XD. Although I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to see what her thought process was regarding everything that led up to Spider-Man Homecoming, since there was no mention of Uncle Ben. Yes, there was a slight nod and mention of it from Peter Parker, but I wanted to hear it from her lips. In my opinion, it would have added another interesting layer to her character. She still would have been the cool aunt that I liked, but she would also be the cool aunt that will give you valuable life lessons. And of course, I'd keep Michael Keaton's Vulture for last because not only was he one of the characters that stood out to me the most, but he's also one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie. Why? Other than the fact that Michael Keaton's my favorite actor? Because Marvel finally decided to let some connection and proper development happen to one of their fucking villains. The combination of the writing and Michael Keaton's performance was enough to make me give a fuck about Vulture the same way that Sam Raimi made me give a fuck about Sandman. Also, his second real interaction with Peter Parker was my favorite scene in the entire movie. Technically, it was his third interaction with Peter, but the first one just went by like that. I didn't even count it. The music even reminded me of Danny Elfman's Sam Raimi score at times. And speaking of the music, Spider-Man had a theme in this movie, which is another thing that I have a problem with MCU heroes. And I hope that they stick with this one and don't do like they did with Iron Man and Thor and just completely give him a brand new theme in his next solo outing. I also thought that the nod that they gave to Miles Morales to actually establish that he exists in the MCU was very well done. And if I were to say that I had a nitpick about it, it's still that I feel that Harry Osborn could have been in this. Like I said before, I thoroughly enjoyed Ned's performance for both story and personal reasons. But I definitely feel that there was enough room for both influences in the film. Since it did a good job with proper pacing, it would have allowed both characters to shine in their own ways. Ned as the sidekick best friend and Harry as the cool best friend. I mean, it's not like that will be the first time that Marvel decide to go that route with Harry. Hopefully they introduce Harry in the second solo installment and they, try and play around with that idea. Basically, readers, this movie was a much needed return to form for Spider-Man. I'm glad there was proper pacing and proper development throughout, even with the main villain. And it gives me hope that Marvel Studios is out of their phase of making them one-dimensional. So if I could summarize this review in 2 sentences, it would be this. The Amazing Spider-Man tried to be the Batman Begins of Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming is the Batman Begins of Spider-Man. I would say this movie is definitely worth a full admission to a movie theater and worth buying on Blu-ray. So with that, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comments section below what you thought of Spider-Man Homecoming if you've seen it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.